Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 370. This episode, as always, is brought to you by our friends at Boost Mobile. Another reminder for everybody, the Week 4 gambling show comes out Friday morning with our 5 picks. We almost had, I text Damonza midway through Sunday football, and I was like, I'm staring 0-5 in the face. And 0-5 is tough to recover from. Luckily, the Chargers ralllied, and then the Lions were never a doubter, getting 4.5. And so 2 and 3 we can deal with. So, you know what I mean? You treading water in that regard. So that the gambling and pick show comes out tomorrow. Also, a little note that is relevant probably more to the Blue Duck and Volume crew than it is, I'm trying to hold back a sneeze, than it is to Damonza. But Friday, bucket list might be strong, but close to bucket list event for me and maybe I said this on Tuesday, I don't remember, going to the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup, held every 2 years, only every 4 years is it in the U.S. It's the U.S. against Great Britain, or the U.S. against Europe, pardon me. It's either in Great Britain or the U.S. Golf tournament being held at Bethpage Black, and me, Danny, and Hubs, whole First Things First crew, going out there. So that'll be all time. See Rory, see Scheffler, and in what'll be a really raucous crowd. Now, here's the thing, before we get to the show, which is a little tricky. Okay, Damonza? So first of all, it's on Long Island. The Ryder Cup is very patriotic typically. You know, when it's in Europe, the crowd is rooting for the Europeans. When it's here, like, people are wearing flags and stuff. The Long Island golf patriotic crowd is not the patriotic part about it, but the Long Island golf crowd is not really my crowd to begin with. Okay. You then add to it, I might have, with our friends at Hard Rock Bet, made a few wagers on Europe. And so I might be out there. I think I'm going to have to at least be appearing to root for the home side, but I'm going to have a financial interest in Europe potentially winning. It could create some awkward spots for me out there, but I'm very, very excited to go. So I'm doing that. And the other thing, Saturday, one of the best college football slates in years. And so we'll touch on that at some point a bit today. But you have, obviously, Georgia, Bama. You have Penn State, Oregon. You have just great games all over the place. Let's get, however, to straight to voicemail, brought to you by our friends at Boost Mobile. Zion, looking great, saying he hasn't felt this great since college. He looked awesome, man. I hope he can stay healthy. I have not sold all my Zion stock. When he came into the league, I said he had MVP potential. And to me, he kind of immediately showed it those first couple years when he played. He just obviously couldn't stay healthy, hasn't been able to stay in shape. Jason Tatum, he hasn't ruled out playing this season. I will be rooting for him to do it. I think that would be a very tough putt. But I thought he did a really good job talking about yesterday about how vulnerable he felt, how sad he was, and, you know, being open about that. So I was happy.
Made a playoff push. He'd be ready for that, right?
I don't know. I mean, the Achilles is typically not a 9-month injury. It's a true 12-month injury. And 12 months obviously would be like round 2 of the playoffs. And would you want his first action to be in the playoff cauldron? I don't know. Listen, I'm rooting for all these guys to get back early. So I'm not going to put a ceiling on what he can do. And I know that he has been rehabbing his ass off. It seems ambitious.
Unlikely.
But listen, I'll root for him. And then tonight, Arizona, Seattle in a Thursday night game. that I know both these teams have good records. Both these teams are 2-1. I'm excited to actually have this be the only game on because it will give me an opportunity to probably watch these teams closer than I've watched them up to this point. I know that I said a few weeks ago that Thursday night game could be a date night Thursday night. I've decided I'm going to, because they're both at this point relevant teams, get an opportunity to watch them. So rate, subscribe, review to the pod on YouTube, on iTunes, on Spotify, wherever you do it. And now we get to the early season game of the year. This Baltimore's been involved. There have been 3 games of the year so far. Bills, Ravens to open the season. Chiefs, Eagles in week 2. And now Bills, Ravens week 4. Or I'm sorry, Chiefs, Ravens week 4. So the Chiefs or the Ravens have been involved in all 3 of the biggest games of the year. Let's get right to it.
Oh, yeah. So your Chiefs and my Ravens face off this weekend. They're both looking at 1-3 starts between the two. Who do you think has more on the line?
I saw Orlovsky this morning say it's clearly the Chiefs. I know that the Chiefs are the team that people have been far more panicked about than Baltimore. I think people have this flatly wrong. It is, to me, unquestionably Baltimore that has more on the line, and it is for 2 very distinct reasons that apply to Baltimore in a way they don't apply to Kansas City. The first one is this. If we believe even though one of these teams is going to be 1-3, that both of these teams still have Super Bowl aspirations, and that Baltimore certainly still has Super Bowl aspirations, they have to win this game for 2 reasons that are related to each other. One is, maybe by winning this game, you won't have to go through Kansas City in the playoffs. And by winning this game, if you do have to play Kansas City in the playoffs, you have some reason to believe you can beat them. Lamar and the Ravens have lost 5 of the 6 games they've played against Patrick and the Chiefs. They have lost 4 in a row. They have lost in Baltimore. They have lost in Kansas City. Lamar, who has the highest passer rating in the history of the NFL, has an 80 passer rating against the Chiefs. Lamar has not played a singularly great game against Kansas City, except for one time, the one time they won, and I think that was 36-35 after a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble, and then Baltimore went for a 4th down smartly late and iced the game. There is a massive psychological edge the Chiefs have over the Ravens. And even if the Ravens win this game, they are not going to have a psychological edge on Kansas City. And so, if the Ravens win, the Chiefs are not going to, if they were to play in the playoffs, go into that game thinking, we can't beat this team. But if the Chiefs win, how can Baltimore credibly think that the Chiefs don't simply have their number? And so I also think that the Ravens upcoming, if they fall to 1-3, a team that oddly to me, and we talked about it a lot Tuesday, felt tight and anxious in their game against Detroit, their next 2 games, home for the Texans with a great defense but a terrible offense, and then home for the Rams, that's concerning. The Chiefs, meanwhile, game after this is Jacksonville. Now, you can say Jacksonville's better than Houston, and I know they're 2-1, Houston's 0-3, and Jacksonville just beat Houston. It still feels to me like Houston has a higher upside potentially than Jacksonville. So
the Lions.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
So,
right, correct.
Oh, okay.
Then they have the Lions. But I also think because after the Lions, the Chiefs get Rashee Rice back, that there is a level of, okay, like let's say they lose to Baltimore and lose to the Lions. And they beat Jacksonville. And they're 2-4 getting Rashee Rice back. I still feel like the team psychologically will feel like, all right, now we're finally whole. Yeah, we're not going to have home field. We're probably not going to win the division. Let's just see if we can get in and be scary. That's one of the reasons that listen, I'm not going to panic about either of
the first few weeks.
Yeah, well, correct. Like, unless you are going to go as far as to say Kansas City, I fear, is going to miss the postseason. I don't think anybody actually believes they're not a terrifying team once the postseason begins, even if they get there by going 10-7. They got there by going 11-6 2 years ago and won the Super Bowl, going to Buffalo, going to Baltimore. And so I also think there is a level of, in the commentariat, offensive bias that is showing up in the way we talk about Baltimore and Kansas City. Kansas City's offense has been its biggest concern. Kansas City's offense kind of across the board is mid. They're average. They're 13th in this, 17th in that, 14th in this, 15th in that. They're just average. And that has caused massive concern. Baltimore's defense has been its problem, and they're awful in everything. And so the side of the ball Kansas City is struggling on, they're struggling to the tune of being average. The side of the ball Baltimore is struggling on, they're struggling to the tune of being horrible. Go ahead.
With that said about Baltimore's defense, if the offense still struggles, then what?
Yeah,
even with Worthy's coming back too.
So that's a good question. If they win a low-scoring game, then that is great. You know what I like? If they win the way they beat Baltimore in the AFC title game, 17-10, then and the offense doesn't cook, but they win, I don't care. I do not care if they don't, because but now I'm going to say a bunch here. If they lose, if Baltimore scores a ton and the Chiefs just can't keep up and they lose 28-13, something like that, that'll be concerning about what the Chiefs' offense actually is and how much just getting Rashee Rice back will fix it.
Right.
I also have, and I don't know if statistically this has been proven or even it can be backed up or anything, but it feels to me like very often games take on a personality, and like one of the reasons Cowboys Giants was high flying the way it was one team's offense beget another team's offense. Does that make sense? Like it was that game led to the personality almost of that game was quick drives, deep bombs, you score, I score, you score, I score.
All right.
The very next week, that same Giants offense played a Chiefs team that was stuck in the mud, long drives, no explosives, and they didn't have any. So that's the same Giants offense, right? Now, the Chiefs defense is obviously better than the Cowboys defense, but not 35 points better, you wouldn't think. And yet that's what we got in that game. And so my point is this. I think the Ravens offense, I don't think this is going to be a 31-28 game. I think this is far more likely to be because the Eagles can be high flying and high scoring. The Chargers can be high scoring. Both teams have played the Chiefs, and the game has kind of taken on the personality of the current Chiefs, which is these long drives, fight for yards, and I don't think that's just because of the Chiefs' defense. I think that, again, I can't prove it, and maybe what I'm saying right now sounds weird, but I just think sometimes games take on, like I said, a personality almost, and there is somehow a butterfly effect of one team's offense hitting deep shots leading to another team's offense hitting deep shots. It's just from my because here's the other thing that's really weird about kind of consuming football and how we feel watching it. So you would agree, Damonza, that Chiefs-Giants game, the Chiefs offense looked hard to watch and stagnant.
Yeah.
Right? It was a bad offensive game. And they finished with it would have been 23, but 22 points because they missed the extra point.
Yep.
You would agree, so the Chiefs in that game scored 22. You would agree that Ravens-Lions, the Ravens offense was moving the ball seemingly at will, and the problem in that game wasn't the offense.
Yeah.
And you would have felt that way even if they didn't get that garbage time touchdown, when they were down 14. The Ravens, going into garbage time of that game, had 24 points. And it felt like the offense was doing whatever it wanted. The Chiefs fought and clawed and ugly football, scored 22 points, and it felt like the offense could do nothing. So again, I'm kind of almost talking about like ideas here.
The Giants.
No, I agree, but the Giants' defense is supposed to be decent, and we don't look at the Lions as a great defense. And so the point I'm making is sometimes you can score 24 points, and it can feel like your offense was humming. And you can score 23 points, and it can feel like your offense couldn't do anything. And so I just feel like we are going to get a slugfest in Kansas City, where every yard is going to be, hard to get. And here's the other reason. I don't think Baltimore's pass defense is as bad as the numbers suggest. I think their run defense is horrible, truly horrible. And I just don't know if the Chiefs have the personnel to take full advantage of a horrible run defense. Like that was the story of Ravens-Lions, was the run defense. And so if there was ever going to be a time for Pacheco to look like Pacheco from a couple years ago, this would be this game. I just don't know if they have it. I don't know. But
would you say...
I do... Go ahead.
Who do you think on your team needs to step up the most in this game?
I think this is... What have I said about Travis? He's got 5 or 6 great games left in him. Yeah. This would be a good time for one of them.
Yeah.
He's had a rough start to the season. He has owned this matchup. Getting Worthy back should open things up in the middle of the field a little bit more. And Tyquan Thornton, all of a sudden, you have to take him seriously, at least as a deep threat. And so this would be a nice Travis Kelce game. I think Kansas City is better than
Worthy's been out. Yeah, that's a crazy question, but you think Worthy
I'm sure he's felt badly. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And now listen, I'm going to be holding my breath on the Worthy stuff because we're only a few weeks removed from that shoulder dislocation, and the further down the road we get, the stronger that shoulder gets. So I don't think Worthy's going to be like super featured in the game plan, but I think just having him out there should help quite a bit. No surprise here. One of my picks on the gambling show is going to be the Chiefs plus the points because I think they're going to win. Damonza and I we're going to figure out some type of wager to make on this game. It won't be financial, but some type of wager to make on this game tomorrow during the gambling show. I have some ideas.
Not
I think
financial?
you have some ideas. That it feels like it can be financial on my end, but I won't accept the request or the transfer if it's from you. I'm not taking money from you, so it's got to be more. It's got to be you are gonna have to do something, and I'm gonna have to give something. Is I think the way to make this bet feel
manual
equitable.
Labor.
Something.
Good.
We'll figure something out. All right, we'll get to Sunday Night Football in a moment, but first, today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. If you love betting on sports or you just love sports and want to try betting, the Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app makes it simple. Plus, packed with great insights, nonstop promos every day of the week. Week 4 kicks off tonight, Seattle and Arizona. I'm looking ahead to Sunday. Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub right there in the app showing me that Kansas City has won 10 in a row at home against the AFC. I didn't realize that. I guess I should have known that, but I didn't realize that. They've won 10 in a row at home against the AFC. You can get some juicy odds if you want to tail Kansas City against Baltimore on the Hard Rock Bet app. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you not only get your winnings, but also an extra $150 in bonus bets. Plus, tonight on Hard Rock Bet, you can get a Thursday night profit boost for the game. Boost your same game parlay or same game parlay max so your bet pays extra winnings. New promos every day. So if you're listening to this later, open the app, check out what they've got going any day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app today. Take a look around and make your first deposit. All right, Damonza, let's go to Sunday Night Football.
All right, Micah Parsons is returning to Dallas to face Dallas. I'm sorry. He said it's going to be very difficult to sack Dak Prescott. Green Bay's offense.
Hold on. He didn't say it was going to be difficult, like hard to do.
Painful. No, not
like
hard to do.
Emotionally difficult. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to hurt his heart.
Yeah.
Green Bay's offense gets a chance to rebound on that crummy Dallas defense. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Who has a bigger statement to make, Jordan Love in the offense or Micah Parsons in the defense? I would say it's Jordan Love.
I think it's yes.
In the offense.
There's no question about it. Listen. Jordan Love. Brew picked Jordan Love, and he wasn't the only one, to win league MVP this year. I think Jordan Love having that mindset would be terrible for the Packers. He does not have to be great. He has to be steady. In a weird way, even though they're incredibly different players, and it's for incredibly different reasons, Jordan Love, to me, is in the same boat as Jared Goff. Now, Goff is in the boat as far as responsibility to the team. And the responsibility is make the plays that are there. Don't make big mistakes. And for Goff, they are an offensive first team. And that's his responsibility, but it's because they have so many dynamic weapons, right? So don't be the reason you lose. Green Bay doesn't have nearly the weapons Detroit has. What they have, though, is a dominant defense and an opportunistic defense. And what Love simply can't do is what he did last week. That interception to the best offensive play of the year thus far was Justin Herbert's touchdown pass last weekend, shaking off the rusher, stepping up in the pocket, slinging it almost sidearmed on a dime. The worst offensive play of the year this season was Jordan Love's interception to de facto lose that Browns game. And if the Packers end up in a shootout, then we can take the training wheels off a bit. But they're not in they thus far have not been in shootouts. Now, our producer Daniel, who is a Packer fan, says Tua's had 50 worst plays. I disagree. I'm talking about it was the only way for Green Bay to lose that game. So I'm not, listen, Cam Ward's had some brutal plays. Obviously, there have been some, in a vacuum, plays that looked worse or, than the Jordan Love play. What I'm saying is snatching a victory out of the snatching a defeat out of the jaws of victory for a team that had no business losing that game, that Jordan Love play is my first draft pick of it. And I think against the Cowboys defense, you're going to have plenty of layups that can be big plays. And I do think Micah is going to have his damn hair on fire. And I think the Cowboys with no CeeDee Lamb, and I think with Tyler Booker, with their first round pick out, this game could be ugly. Now, the Cowboys have enough offensive firepower that I don't think I'm going to lay the 7 points on the road with Green Bay. But I do think that it is far more likely the Packers blow out the Cowboys than it is the Cowboys win. Again, Damonza, I don't give you teaser coaching, but I'm telling you right now, if I were doing a teaser this weekend, teasing Green Bay down to a pick'em is like a must-have leg.
That is
I just think there
news.
Is what you have the other way on it?
No. I've got something on it. I didn't think that. But yeah, that's just going against all your rules. It shocks me. But yeah.
What's my rules? What do you mean?
Teasing to the 0.
Well, I also wouldn't
like
do.
You
like 8,
that?
but you like 8-point teasers. I'm just saying the old traditional 6-point teaser.
Yeah.
The getting.
And you get more juice.
Yes, I mean I don't I think of teasers in 6-point denominations. So if I were doing a 6-point teaser this weekend, having Green Bay down to either -0.5 point or -1 would be a must-have because I just do not see a path for Dallas to win this game, and I think here's my Jerry Jones take. I think the reason Micah is not getting a tribute video is because Jerry Jones is embarrassed. And I think Jerry loves a spectacle. Jerry loves a show. Jerry loves more, an event. And I think that under normal circumstances, he would announce, we're going to do something special for Micah Parsons. I think Jerry does not want to see the Cowboys fans in Jerry World stand and applaud Micah Parsons. And that's why he's not getting it.
They'll do it over there in Green Bay then. He's getting a lot of standing ovations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They love him over there. But yeah.
They do, but this is... And so, listen, I love the Packers this week, and I think it's a get-right spot, and I think they will get right. And I think Mike will have a big game. The Cowboys might... Now, Micah might have a big game by virtue of creating pressure for other people to clean up on the sacks or getting double-teamed. The Cowboys might be like, Mike is just not going to be the one who beats us, so be it. But I think Micah's impact will be felt heavily on this game. By the way, if you're thinking about upgrading to the all-new iPhone 17 Pro, designed to be the most powerful iPhone ever, but you're also thinking about the traffic on your way to the store or transferring all your data, good news. When you order a new phone online with Boost Mobile, they'll send an expert to your home. How about that? Or home or work to deliver your brand new iPhone Pro and get you set up on Boost Mobile within minutes. No hassle. So how about that? You get the new iPhone, it comes right to you, and a tech comes in, get all your stuff transferred, get you set up on the network. Visit boostmobile.com to get started. Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com. Terms, of course, do apply. All right, Damonza, let's get to another huge game this weekend.
Yeah, your guy Baker takes on Philly this weekend, and the last couple that the Bucs are very banged up, by the way. The last couple of times that they've faced Philly, they've beaten them. And what version of the Philly offense do you think that we're going to get?
Well, so this is interesting. The Eagles are on this 17-game winning streak when Jalen starts and finishes games. That game started, the last time they lost, I should say, was against Tampa. Tampa did beat them in the playoffs soundly. I think Jalen's like 1-4 in his career against Tampa and an unbelievable record against everybody else. I am worried about Tampa this weekend because the injuries are crazy. And it is cluster offensive line injuries, which is the cluster injuries are one thing. Cluster offensive line injuries are disastrous. So Tristan Wirfs, they're still trying to get him back. They've got two other offensive linemen on the IR, so you're potentially down 3 offensive linemen. Mike Evans is not going to play. You worry. Levante David, it popped up on the injury report. And by the way, Baker was limited in practice this week. Now, the Eagles are dealing with injuries of their own, but it's not on the offensive line. I know Lane Johnson suffered the stinger on everyone's favorite play, the early bird. But the Bucs might be too banged up in this spot, and it is, to me, a really concerning injury spot for Tampa. Because of that, Damonza, I think that the Eagles should open it up offensively. I just don't think... Now, the injuries for Tampa, to be clear, are Tampa's offensive side of the ball. It's not that I'm saying the injuries are going to make the Tampa defense susceptible. What I'm saying is I think Philly has a bit of a margin of error here to play with. And I also think with Saquon not playing great, and he just hasn't yet, maybe he will, but he has a lot of carries last year, with A.J. Brown clearly wanting you to open it up, with the game plan last week being so disastrous that you found yourself in that massive hole, and with Jalen taking care of the football, there just isn't a big argument, in my opinion, to not have an aggressive downfield passing game plan to just see how it works. Because if they show that early in games, I believe it will lead to Saquon popping again. I think right now, teams early in games are so convinced that Philly is just going to run, that they are able to stack the box against Saquon, and that's one of the reasons he's not having the success that he has had previously. And so I think that there is a real opportunity for Philadelphia here to put really scary stuff on tape for upcoming opponents of a pass-heavy early game script that could pay real dividends down the road, even if they want to lean more on Saquon, in higher leverage spots. I understand this is a huge game because both these teams are undefeated. They're both, in my opinion, legitimate Super Bowl contenders. But Philly cannot go into this game with the game plan they had last week. You just can't. You have not been, since Becton's gone, you haven't been as dominant of a run blocking team. Lane Johnson's a little banged up. Your receivers are a little frustrated. Your quarterback seemed, frustrated during the game about the game plan. Like, open it up. And I don't think Jalen's going to turn the ball over a bunch. Now, maybe it doesn't work and you go back to, you're in a rough spot early in the game, but you were in a rough spot last week against a really good Rams team and came all the way back. Like, I think Philly has to lean on Jalen a little bit more this week and see how it plays out.
With all that said, and Philly having like all the margin for error and stuff, if Baker were to go out and win the game, would you make him your MVP favorite?
Listen, I think he's got a legitimate MVP case. Right now, the media is focused far more heavily on Herbert and Josh, and that's fine. But the 3 last-second victories by Baker have put him in the mix. And if you remember, my prediction that the Bucs get the 1 seed, winning this game would put them in such a great spot to potentially be the 1 seed if they can steal this victory against Philly. Because, as I said when I picked them to be the 1 seed, I just want to remind everyone, this is how Tampa ends the year. Final, 5 games. Cardinals, Saints, Falcons. Final 6 games. Cardinals, Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers. So, if they get to 4-0, right? And then they can just go 4-3 in the tough part of their schedule, which, starts here, but I'm saying if they get to it. Because they then at Seahawks, home for the Niners, at the Lions, at the Saints, home for the Patriots, at the Bills, at the Rams. If they get to 4-0, they have a very real chance of being 8-3 or call it even 7-4 through those 11 games. And then you rip off 6 straight to end the year, you're a 13-14 win team. If you win this game and you have the tiebreaker with Philly, you probably don't even need. If you win this game, you might be able to be the 1 seed with 12 wins. Because if Philly ends with 12, you get the 1 seed. So this would be an unbelievable stolen win for Tampa, given how injured they are. But I think this is a really, really rough spot for them. And I think Philly is the right side in this game. When you think game day, you might not think Wayfair, but you should, because Wayfair is the best kept secret for incredible and affordable game day finds. Wayfair is the ideal place to get your game day essentials. With their larger selection of products, unique finds that reflect your style, options for every budget, and free shipping. And there's no better time than now to get your home ready. Damonza just ordered something off Wayfair that should be getting there in the next day or two. His sister getting set up in her apartment at college. I ordered her a dresser from Wayfair that she just got yesterday. Wayfair is the ideal place to get your game day essentials. Larger selection of products, unique finds, reflect your style, options for every budget, and free shipping. There's no better time than now to get your home ready. With football season back in full swing, Wayfair has me set up perfectly with a new recliner to watch all the games, but they offer so much more, like I was talking about, that we've hooked Damonza and Diora up with. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your home goals. Endless inspiration for every space and budget. Free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. No more huge delivery fees for furniture. Get big stuff like sofas, dining room tables, beds, and more shipped free. Wayfair is your trusted destination for all things game day, from coolers and grills to recliners and slow cookers. Shop, save, and score today at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, Damonza.
So they are not letting Russ cook anymore in New York. It's Jackson Dart time. They put him in a kind of a weird time. This could be a blessing or a curse. They are playing the Chargers, and they have a top-ranked defense. How do you see things going for Jackson Dart and the Giants in this game?
I think they might get a temporary shot in the arm. I'm not right. Listen, they're in New York. I think that defense is good. I'm giving the Giants maybe a bigger chance than I should at making this a real game, and then seeing what Jackson Dart can do. When Daniel Jones took over, not a few years ago, but a half decade ago, his first game, I think it was against Tampa. He comes in, plays well, they steal a win. They're feeling good. Now, that team didn't end up being very good, but like in that moment, because I do think they were out on Russ. I am not as big on the Jackson Dart aura as other people are, but people seem to really like him. I guess we'll see. Guy
But it's the vibes.
Strikes me as a little bit of like a frat bro, but whatever. I am open. I liked him. Evidently that chain isn't a chain. It's his sister's necklace.
It's beautiful.
That he.
I like
it. So like he borrowed it from her, wore it, now he wears it for good luck. I don't have that full story. I think it's been reported out elsewhere. But they seem very excited about him. To me, the bigger story is about Russ. Is his career over? And is he a Hall of Famer? And my answer to those questions are yes, his career's over, and no, he's not a Hall of Famer. And it is stunning how quickly this ended for him. It doesn't feel stunning because it feels like he's been bad for years now, which he has been. But Russell Wilson forced his way out of Seattle. The Broncos gave up a king's ransom for him and then paid him early a huge deal. And he immediately was terrible. And it was not that long ago that people thought the Broncos were going to be a real threat because they got Russell Wilson. It was September of 2022 that they gave up multiple first-round picks, gave him a huge deal, and then he and Nat Hackett lost that opening game to Geno and the Seahawks, and it's just been a disaster for him ever since. And I understand he has a good career winning percentage, and I understand that he has, 9 Pro Bowls, 10 Pro Bowls, because he oddly made the Pro Bowl last year. And listen, he was a really, really good player in Seattle. But during his career, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Big Ben, Patrick, Josh, Lamar were all Hall of Fame quarterbacks during his career. Phillip Rivers was, in my opinion, better than Russ. I don't know that Rivers is getting in. Eli, I don't know that I think Eli was better than Russ, but Eli has the 2 Super Bowls versus 1, and Eli, I don't think, is getting in, at least not anytime soon. He didn't have as high of a peak as Cam Newton or Matt Ryan, who are not getting in. And the longevity part is not there for him. He had 9 good to excellent years, and that's it. And for a quarterback, you need more. It's hard to find more than 1 year where he was a consensus top 5 quarterback. It's impossible to find 1 year where he was a consensus top 3 quarterback. And so I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer. He was on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and if Malcolm Butler doesn't pick that ball off, and he has the greatest start to a career in the history of the league. Year 1 takes team to divisional round of the playoffs. Year 2 wins the Super Bowl over Peyton Manning. Year 3 wins the Super Bowl over Tom Brady. But Malcolm Butler did pick that ball off. And the fact of the matter is, the best teams, he was on good teams that he was the centerpiece of. He was on great teams that he was the caretaker of. And I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer. And I don't know, at this point, Damonza, I don't know, like, are the Bengals going to call and try to get him? I don't think so. Like, I don't know where he goes. And
like as a starter, or is it just a backup, right? We're talking backup?
No, I'm talking about the Bengals as a starter right now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like with Burrow out. Like, right. But the Broncos traded for him. They were done with him after a year and a half. The Steelers signed him. They were done with him after a half year starting. The Giants signed him. They were done with him after 3 games starting. I just think it's over. And it's a pretty crummy ending. And so but like, to me, he's not a Hall of Fame player. He's a really good player with a really good career, but not a Hall of Fame player. And it sure seemed like the Giants could not wait to move on from him. As far as the Giants' thought process here, Danny's been making this point, and I think he's right. If Jackson Dart's ready now, he was probably ready in week 1. And if he wasn't ready in week 1, he's probably not ready now. But I think that Brian Daboll doesn't want to deal with empty MetLife seats and boos if he wants to have a chance at keeping that job. And so putting Dart out there is getting at least the New York fans excited about this weekend's game and the rest of this season. What's one money lesson you wish you learned earlier, and how are you trying to pass that down to your kids? For all of the parents out there with teenagers, we know you're already trying to keep a million different things under control. Cash App is here to help make sure your teens' money and their spending isn't adding to that craziness. Available through sponsorship by an eligible parent or guardian, teens gain access to a personalized Cash App card that comes in different colors and patterns to fit their style, and the ability to instantly access money from family and friends. The platform also has tools that can help teens develop real-world financial habits in a space that's safe and easy to navigate, all with your oversight and approval. There are no monthly fees, no minimum balance requirements, and no hidden charges when sending or receiving money. Damonza, I think I'm going to get one of these for your sister. She's 20, but might as well be a teenager at college. This seems like a great product for her. I'm going to get one of these right when we get on with the show. Cash App card. You and your teens' balances receive 24/7 fraud monitoring, and if something ever feels off, you have the ability to lock their card right from your phone just in one tap. Skip the stress and give your teen a way to learn financial responsibility with no hidden fees. Download Cash App and get started today. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash for real. Just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, FAMILY10. That is code FAMILY10, FAMILY10 in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Direct deposit, roundups, overdraft coverage, and discounts provided by Cash App. A Block Incorporated. A Block Incorporated brand. Visit cashapp.com/legal/podcast for full disclosures. All right, Damonza, let's go to Colts Texans quickly, and also if there are some questions in the chat, we can do those as well here in a minute.
My guy Daniel Jones and the Colts are going to face off the Rams. They are 3-0, but people would probably call this the real first test for them. And the Rams are coming off the double block field goals. How will we be talking about these teams differently come Monday?
Oh, listen, I think the Rams will be 3-1 and the Colts will be 3-1. I've got to give. Remember how during our preseason gambling show, I said that every year there's been a team that I tie in a bunch of stuff and it ruins my profitability. That 2 years ago it was Jacksonville. I believed in them and they ruined me. Last year it was Pittsburgh. I didn't believe in them and it ruined me. I am staring down the barrel of needing to sweep the board in everything non-Colts related because I made a bunch of bets that
I thought in the
had the underlying
you thought
belief
they were going to be like mid. I didn't remember you saying they were going to be bad.
I said they had a chance to be the worst team in the league. They're 3-0. This is my biggest, up to this point, this is my biggest whiff of the preseason. There's still time, and to your point, they have beaten two of the worst teams in football and a last-second field goal to beat the Broncos, but still, they've now got a bit of a cushion. And the rest of the AFC South, with the Texans being a mess, the Jags being not as good as their 2-1 record is, and the Titans having one of the worst coaches I've seen in recent memory, I'm officially nervous. Before we get to college football, and before we get to some of the listener questions, shout out, see it in the top right corner, to our new sponsor, Zen. This is one we've been working on. This is the old, what was that? It was like gosh darn it. There was a men's hair either coloring or regrowth thing that no. This is from when I was a kid. Where in the commercials, the guy was like, I'm not only the owner, I'm a client or something. People will know what I'm talking about. Zen, us having Zen as a sponsor for the show is just perfect. And can't use it during the show because it just can't. But shout out to Zen. The only real true to life sponsorship we're missing at the moment's coffee. I'm drinking 30 coffees a day. It was the Hair Club for Men. Thank you, Daniel. We just need some good coffee sponsorship. Maybe Big Cat's Coffee Company wants to buy some ads here. A little FS1 cross promotion. What's it, Stella Blue? That's your only free ad, Big Cat. Buy some ad time on here. All right, college football this weekend, Damonza. 4 just massive games. USC, Illinois, big noon on Fox. USC in a weird spot. They played an 11 p.m. kickoff last week, and now they're playing East Coast time, and now they're playing a noon kickoff East Coast time this week. But I like USC. I don't mind laying the points there. LSU plus 1.5 at Ole Miss. I don't have a feeling on. I love Oregon getting 3.5 at Penn State. I love it. I love it so much. Penn State does not beat top 10 teams. Talked with Joel Klatt about it yesterday. And I also like Georgia laying 2.5 at home against Alabama. I talked with Joel Klatt about a little Oregon-Georgia Chiefs 3-way money line parlay, maybe. There's my college. It's huge college football weekend. I'll be sweating those bets from the Ryder Cup. Also, if you're wondering, hey, when's the gambling show? That is coming out Friday morning with our 5 picks. All right, Damonza, let's ask some of these listener questions.
Platonic Zombie asked, if Dallas wins, will we be having a real discussion about how bad Love actually is?
Dallas? No, listen, I don't think Jordan Love's bad. And if Dallas wins, the discussion, the only way for Dallas, I mean, I guess if Jordan Love can't move the ball against the Cowboys defense, then there are some real concerns, but I don't think he's bad. All right, in fact, I know he's not bad. The question is, can he be great? And does he think he has to be great? I don't think he has to be great. I just think he has to be solid. All right, let's go to Mitchell.
Mitchell says, hey, Nick, Seattle fan here. You think Cal will win the MVP for the Mariners?
Can you guys throw in the AL MVP odds into the doc? I've said that I think, even though Judge had been a huge favorite, that I thought if the Mariners made the playoffs, that Cal Raleigh, with his 60 home runs, was going to get it. I think he's going to get it. And he has a chance of beating Aaron Judge's AL home run record. The Mariners are going to make the playoffs. Well, not going to make the playoffs. They have made the playoffs already. Pardon me. They clinched. I think Cal Raleigh can win it. I know Judge has been unbelievable and was a huge favorite as of a few weeks ago. Right now, with our friends at Hard Rock, Cal's the favorite now. Minus 200. Shout out Brew, who saw this train. Brew should gamble. He doesn't bet. He loved Cal Raleigh's chances when he was plus 350. He's now minus 200. Pretty good. Marcus asks if I have any bets on the Ryder Cup, if people missed the top of the show, because it does start tomorrow. I'm going Saturday, and I bet on Europe. So I'm going to be in America, the very pro-America crowd, and I'm as pro-America as the next guy. Maybe not as much as quite as some of these Long Island golf fans are going to be, but in general, I root for America and things in international competitions. But you know who's American? Me. And you know who's got money on Europe? Me. So I'm kind of rooting for America by rooting for myself. Reminder, like, rate, subscribe, review to the pod. Pick show coming out early morning Friday. Bring it to you there. What's right? Thank you, by the way, to Volume, Hard Rock, Boost, Zen. Who am I leaving out? Cash App, Wayfair, all our great sponsors. Appreciate you all. See you guys for the gambling show tomorrow.